haircut is real low, you know, and then the other picture with him being released or after him being released or whatever, you can see he's a lot older. You can see some of the wrinkles, but you can still see the same man. He got a little bit of chin, a little bit of hair underneath his chin. He got a whole bunch of gray hair. He missing everything up top. Now, you can see the oldness on him.
Right. Let me ask you a question about this situation.
What's up?
Do you think he a victim of getting lost in the system? Because since Nixon you said Nixon was the president.
Not Nixon, bro.
Who you say?
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Well, since Dwight D. Eisenhower has been president, since he's been president, laws have changed and everything. Do you think he was a victim of just being lost in the system?
Well, yeah. Well, look, this how he got out though. This how he was released. He was released because they made being a juvenile serving a life sentence unconstitutional. And so because he was convicted under being a juvenile back then, he was 15 years old. Right. You know what I'm saying? They you know, I don't think back then they was trying you as an adult.
Right. He should have been 21 and been out.
But
if he got juvenile life.
But for whatever reason, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think because
he may have
a lot of people was victims of getting lost in the system?
He may have. He don't know no better. He from Alabama. You know, they in Philadelphia. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm a true believer. Like, I mean, I know everybody make their own decisions and things like that. But I'm a true believer that your environment and the social conditions in your environment will make you do things
we had a discussion about that. Yes, sir.
Will make you do things that you know that the regular, ordinary, so to speak, person wouldn't do. Right. You see what I'm saying? And that, I mean, to me, that's only natural to expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like where there's poverty, there's crime. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So
that go hand
in hand. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So but yeah, he was the longest serving juvenile lifer. Right. And I feel like, I mean, that man.
Somebody got to be famous for something.
But like you said, though. No, I know. But like you said though, like, you know, you salute you tip your hat to him and shit. I believe that too. I do the same thing, you know, because that man, I mean, it's people who ain't survived 25, 30 years. Right. You know, whatchamacallit, Gotti was sentenced to life. He died in prison. His brother was sentenced to life and died in prison. You see what I'm saying? This man lived 68 years.
Let me ask you this question. He lived 68 years in prison, right? Mm-hmm. So that means every year that state was responsible for him.
Right.
Every day that man got 3 hots in the car.
Yeah.
He probably worked around the penitentiary, you know, because they had job. He probably did. You know, it's no telling how that man's life was. Mm-hmm. See, we from the outside looking in, like this man was confined in prison. This man could have been the freest man in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he didn't even take the fact of getting his physical free. Right. Until he can know that he content with letting his mind be free with his physical. That's crazy. That's beyond. Because he even said in an interview that I watched. You're right. He even said in the interview I watched with the lady. He had just got out. He said that they took my body, but they couldn't take my mind. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's another guy. You look him up when you get a chance, and people listening, you look him up, you get a chance. This man did 44 years of solitary confinement. Right. But you know it's crazy when you just said that quote that they took my body, but they did take my mind, because even out here in the free world, as we call it, society, people get their mind taken, but their body be free.
Be free, yeah.
Does that understand? So they in a whole nother different penitentiary.
They're in their own prison.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, they're in their own prison.
Right.
You know, and they come in different forms. You know, some people in economic prison, you know, mental prisons, you know, all that kind of stuff, man.
Environmental prisons.
Environmental prisons.
And I'm not meaning in jails. I'm talking about environmental mentally
states. Yeah. I mean,
when you wake up and you've been in the same environment for 40, 50 years. You've seen nothing different. I know people downtown that haven't been past Mercury Boulevard in like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So going past Mercury would
don't know what's going on up there.
Don't know what, unless what they know on the news, but don't know where it's at because they don't know nothing past Mercury. Dog. Yeah, but I tell you, this is real. Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, being confined is real. You can be a confinement of your own environment. You know what I'm saying?
Remember, I caught the little driving charge. I was like think about 08 or so. Because Obama was running for president.
When you had to do the time in the joint.
Yeah, I had to do
the weekends.
Well, no, not the weekend joint.
Oh, the whole joint you had to do.
That was at the city jail. So while I was in there, I met this cat named Jim Beam. And Jim Beam was from downtown.
You told me about Jim Beam.
And Jim Beam was doing this thing, getting his bread, getting his paper, whatever. And me and him having deep conversations about certain situations, about, different stuff. He basically telling me his war story, so to speak, this shit going on with his case and all that, whatever. So me and him talking, and he tell me he got tore off uptown. And he was like, yeah, I had never been uptown. I ain't never chill uptown like that. And I started chilling uptown. And he was like, I ended up getting tore off by somebody that was that, I guess was from uptown or whatever, and somebody that he knew but didn't know, type thing and whatever. And I was like, damn, And so he was just saying how he was better in his own, where he was at, like where he resided at or whatever. And I was just like, damn, I was just tripping off the fact that he had been here like damn near his whole life. I was probably a couple of years older than him, but he had been here his whole life and never been up to Denby. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
it's like that, right?
And they're like, you wilding, like what? Right. You ain't never been up to Denby?
But you know what? That's crazy because I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I drove here when I was 16. I followed my dad here in my car. Mm-hmm. So when I get here, I'm riding around Banks and I'm just trying to get to know the area. So I'm in the lawns because I know, and my mom worked at Riverside, so I know how to get from the lawns to Riverside, right? So, but it's the summertime, so I just decided, this is before I met, Roman out there, before we, started hanging out with them real tough and everything. So I was riding around trying to get everything going. So I ended up hitting Williamsburg. Mm-hmm. Dog, true story. I rolled into Williamsburg, but it was, I think it was like, it was a Busch Gardens. I don't know, but everybody, it was like old school, old town. They had slaves and everything. What is that called? That's it used to be out there. The in Williamsburg, the old school town.
The
Colonial. Yes.
The Colonial Williamsburg.
Colonial Williamsburg. Yeah. And they had the expedition out there for all year round for when the first settlers got here.
Yeah.
But see, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting here and I'm riding, and I bump into this town. And it's Colonial Williamsburg. Mm-hmm. But all the black people out there dressed like slaves, my dude. Mm-hmm. Dog, I thought I drove through a time warp. You talking Back to the Future? Dog, I thought I went in a time warp, dog. I thought I went in a time warp, but I was a stranger to this land. You know what I'm saying? And so I imagine that's how people feel when they leave from downtown and go past Mercury after so many years. Because I thought and I even pulled over and yelled out like, "Don't y'all know y'all free?" But the people laughing at me. I'm like, "Yo, I'm not from here." Cause my car say Oklahoma tax and everything, right? Mm-hmm. So they laughing though. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we work here. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, oh snap. You know what I'm saying? I thought I went through a time war, but didn't hit me. Oh, this is the first colony where they came. You know what I'm saying? So then it became intriguing to me because I'm like, oh, so this is the closest what's gonna get to looking like when it was back then. Does that make sense? And to be able to see that at that time, and to me as a blind man now to be able to remember that, you know what I'm saying? It's significant to my upbringing, of my vision or my attitude towards the black race. Does that make sense?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they say we got brought over here, but you want to understand how we built the little villages and everything. We did that and worked them. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's you know.
And I'm just saying how people probably get that same shock when they leave their environment.
Their environment.
You know what I'm saying? That they so accustomed to.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I know what you feel like.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
But you know, that was just crazy to me, just being from here and like, damn, like feeling like I know, like coming up. Of course, you think your city probably big, but then you realize city ain't really that big. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see that you can go from one end to the city and go down to the other end, streets. You know what I mean?
Jefferson
right. And you can't get lost on neither one of them. You know what I'm saying? So
everything will bring you
when
back
I realized
to
that, it was like, okay, my city ain't really as big as I thought it was. You know what I mean? Right. So when I hear people say that, you know, yo, I ain't never been uptown or what. Like, what? Like, you ain't never been uptown. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And maybe it's a thing of, I don't want to go uptown or I don't want to go downtown or what, you know. Like,
but imagine people that ain't never been to Norfolk over the water, or Norfolk people that ain't never been to the news.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hey, look, I met some people like that.
I know people that's in Norfolk that's scared to death of Newport News, only because of what they hear from it.
What they hear about Newport News.
Hear about it.
Right. You know?
And I'm like, nah, they ain't even like that over there.
Yeah, yo.
Yeah, that'd be bugged out. To go somewhere else and hear somebody talk about your city like it's the worst place ever. Like, nah, no, it ain't even like that over there.
Yeah, bro. But
if you go over there and get the tripping, it can get like that. But don't let me. I ain't even.
Oh yeah, that's anywhere in the Southern City.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But most definitely here. Yeah. But yeah, bro. You was talking about the stimulus checks earlier. Yeah. And I'm gonna transition that. The stimulus checks. They're handing out these $1,400 stimulus checks.
All
right. A guy in Indianapolis, Indiana. He has a baby mama. I don't know how long he's been with her. He has a child with her, but she has a 7-year-old child. She has her mother, has her brother, has her cousin, and I think that was it at the house or whatever. Well, a couple of days earlier, the brother hollered at her, said he want her whole her whole $1,400 check.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, real. Yeah, I think he wanted the whole check.
Right.
She said, "I'll give you $450 of it."
That's generous.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, he either wanted whole or half of the check.
Right.
And she wouldn't give him that much. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, I'll give you $450. And he won't feeling that. He demanded that he wanted more and that he threatened that he was gonna come back to get more. Right. So let me give you just a little background. Like I said, he an Indianapolis man from Indiana.
Oh, his name better calm down. He ain't learn.
His name, huh?
Oh, Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I said Minneapolis.
Indianapolis. And his name is Malik Halfaker. I think that's how you pronounce it. But he came back. He came back the next day, right? He's stupid. He came back the next day, and he ended up going to her house, man, and murdering her people. I think he ended up shooting her.
For $450? I mean, for a half of $1,400.
Listen. I'm gonna run it down. Malik Halfaker. He shot and killed 4 members of. I think her name is Janitarius. I want to say, and if I messed up her name, I'm sorry. But her last name is Moore. And this is his child's baby mother. As I say, he got a child with her. She's like, I guess 6 months or whatever. He went there demanding half her stimulus check. Right. All right, half her stimulus check. And so Moore offered him $450 the day before, but he threatened that he will be back for more. You know, not for more herself, but more money. Right. But he came back. shot Moore's 7-year-old daughter, Eve.